Go sit down, Moose. Hello, everyone. It's Connie, and I'm live today. I'm a little late. I'm a couple minutes late, but I was just getting Moose set up because he is like driving me a little crazy today. Just a little crazy. But anyway, thank you for watching. And I'm going to start out the day reminding you about free shipping. Today, for 3 days, starting today, Stampin' Up! Has free shipping on orders over $75. And that's perfect because that $75 mark gets you the opportunity to buy the product of the month. And I looked today and all 3 product of the month products are still available and you can choose from them. So if you really liked the first blue paper pack, it's available. If you really liked last month's stamp set, you could choose it, or you could choose the one from this month, which is like outstanding. I've actually used the last month's stamp set multiple times already. I think they're all great choices. And I love that they actually made a design team specifically for the product of the month so that we can start seeing projects made using that. I have a project to show that I used with it today too. But first I want to show you a few things that I just polished off and finished. I don't want you to think that I always just store naked layouts and stuff. So I just want to show you a few finished things before I start our project today. Hi, Christy. Thank you for watching. Thank you. And okay, so first I just wanted to show you, let me show this first. I did this layout, a couple weeks ago for Jen's birthday, and it was, her birthday is today, actually, but we celebrated early, and she's 33. I can't believe I have a 33-year-old, but I just wanted to show you, I actually did make her birthday layout, and I used that for the journaling. Gosh, Steve, for the first time I think ever, was like, do you feel really old? Because 33. That sort of cracked me up a little bit. And then I polished off my paper pumpkin with the postage, and I made a scrapbook layout using the postage pieces because I couldn't resist. Hi, Nancy. Anyway, so I just used crumb cake. I edged the edge in pecan pie just to give it more of a vintage look. I used the cool little stamp set, the postage one that came with this set. I guess I should show you the picture of it instead of the actual set. But I like that the paper pumpkins, come with stamps that you can use now or later. And I'm definitely going to store this one with my postage stuff because I really like the little cancellation marks and the other things on this layout, just in case you're curious. The blue paper with the design on it, that is actually from that Peaceful Garden, the one with the doves and stuff that came out right before Christmas. This right here, it was a piece from the Valentine paper, and when you trim it really thin like that, I think it gives it the airmail postage look. I mean, it has the right colors anyway. So I thought that was appropriate for here. And then The 3 postage pieces were actually card fronts from the Paper Pumpkin set. The little stamps are from the Paper Pumpkin set. I really like these. And you got like 3 of each thing, so I had leftovers. And then I just stamped around. This was from the Paper Pumpkin set. This little, you can hardly see it, but there's flip-flap on here. And there's a little tiny strip right there of metallic, and it's like embossed, and that came out around Valentine's Day too. There was a set, there were 3 specialty papers that are in that pack, and I've been struggling just a little to use them because the colors don't match exactly. They're just a little different, but I love them, and so I'm starting to cut them up and use them in small ways. This little heart stamp was from the Paper Pumpkin stamps. Anyway, I really like how that looked, and it's a Disney layout, which made my day, right? I got another Disney layout done. And then with what was left, I just made a bunch of cards, thinking of you, and I had a bunch of the card bases left that were like Z folds, and so I just started putting pieces together. I did not follow the exact Paper Pumpkin pictures because since I used so many of the components, I had to do my own thing anyway. This is an envelope that I cut down, and I did a couple of those. And I saw something like this on the Paper Pumpkin Facebook group. This is very similar to the original. I didn't use very many of these flowers, so I was able to use them on cards. And here's another one of those Z folds. I did not like these pink flowers. I'm not a big floral person, but when I find flowers I really like, I'll use them like crazy, but I didn't like the fake looking of these. I should have inked them, but it turned out fine. And then this last one. Ta-da! And I have them ready to roll to go to JJ for the elderly. I try to send her a batch of cards every month so that I'm not making like, 50 Halloween cards or 50, Easter cards or whatever all at once. I really try to do a few every week and then just send her a batch every month of whatever's coming next or coming up or just generic. Anyway, for the postage thing, for the scrapbook layout, I was trying to think of good titles. If you wanted to do something like that, you could easily buy the postage dies and do something very similar. And I was like, special delivery would be really cute for like a new baby, or something you're waiting on to come that's big. Wish you were here for pictures of people who live far away. Postmarked, October 2025, like just put the date. That's what I was gonna do. But then, sealed with a kiss, stamped with love, travel notes. I thought that was really cute. Postcards from Disney World, whatever. And I just started writing down things that came to mind. I'm sure there's more. Oh my gosh, if you Google it, you probably find gobs and gobs. But the other thing I wanted to use on there was the Just a Note dies, because I was thinking I could do my journaling on this little page, and then I really liked these little arrows, And you know what I decided? The reason I didn't use them, and this is the laziest thing, is that I really wanted to use those arrows, and I wanted to make a border under my photos instead of those little hearts that I stamped. And I wanted to do little red arrows, and I realized there's only 2. I would have to put that through so many times. I just didn't have the energy to put that through my die cut machine. So you know what I did today is I bought a second set of these. They're on Last Chance. I really love them. And the only reason that I ever hesitate to use them is that there's only 1 binder clip. There's only 2 paper clips. I always need at least 3. The binder clips, I always use a minimum of 2 to 3. And so I'm like, I just bought a second set. They're cheap. They're like $12. And I'm like, that's it. I'll have enough where I'll never hesitate again. I'll just use them. I know. That's crazy. I did the same thing with that More Than Autumn set. It's sometimes you just don't want to die cut all day long. Okay, today I want to talk about a couple of things that are in the catalogs that I haven't I haven't really used. And I don't know why. I don't know why I haven't used them. But on page 28 of the main catalog, there are some scrapbooking templates, some ideas for using this for, a jump start, a place to start. And there's also card templates. See? A lot of them, tags and cards. And you could do a little tag and put it on the front of a card or on a scrapbook page, make an embellishment. It's a jumping off point. If you're not sure where to start, this is a great place to start. And my upline has a big challenge this month to use the scrapbooking or card making template to make a project. And so that's what I'm doing. Now this one came from last year's, the 2024 mini. And I had pulled it out. I had torn it out, pulled it out, and I put it in my stash here. And then this one is from the current mini. And I'm going to use that today, and I want to show you a trick. The other ones, they just put out some for demonstrators to share with customers, this handout of other card templates. And the thing that's interesting about these is just because it's a circle doesn't mean you have to make it a circle. It just means you need a focal point, like here, a focal point. And see, they used a heart. It's just a way to inspire you to make something without you having to come up with the idea from scratch. And so this is, I want to show you my trick today. Let me put this aside. So I put this on my copy machine because I wanted to show you, what I did was I enlarged it. I cut and pasted it and I enlarged it so that I could use this. I want to show you a trick for figuring out sizes. I know that a lot of you don't use these because the size, you don't know the exact measurements. So for example, let's just pick one. Let's pick this one right here. I hope you can see it pretty good. I'm going to zoom in, make you dizzy. I'm going to try to zoom in. Sorry, I bumped my camera too. Nothing like craziness there. So what I'm going to do on this one right here is I'm going to figure out, like, if I don't know, I mean, in my head, I'm an eyeballer. I'm like, okay, this is probably a 4x6 photo. I'm going to put something in this corner, some journaling down here, and I'm just going to guess what that is. Well, a lot of people do not do that. Cannot, don't wanna, and so they want the measurement for that. So what I'm gonna do, I grabbed a strip of paper out of my scraps. This is just like a 1/2 inch strip of paper. And what I'm gonna do, I got my pen here, I'm going to mark it right there and cut it. Okay. Now, let's just say we're going to make a 12-inch layout. Let's make this a 12-inch layout. Now I have my 12-inch ruler. The whole thing is 12 inches. When I fold it in half, now I have 6 inches on one side and 6 inches on the other, right? Because that's the 6-inch mark. Okay, now if I fold this into the center, let me fold it backwards so you can see what I'm doing. It's so fiddly, it's so small, right? I have a really tiny one around here somewhere that I use for the ones inside the catalog without enlarging them, but I thought that would be really hard for you to do. So I'm gonna fold each side back. I'm gonna make it like a W. Fold it in half. How's that for close up on my dry hands? Okay, so now we've taken that 6 mark and halved it. So that's 3. It's hard to write on a score. And then this half is 9, right? So we have a 12-inch ruler. Now, we need to split this approximately into 3 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, Moose, enough. Oh, he's so... All right, so now I have a 12-inch ruler. Do you see that? It's not really 12 inches. This whole thing is so tiny. It's like 2. It's like 2 1/4 or something. But you're recreating this ruler. Now, so the page should go the full length of the ruler, which is 12 inches. And then I'm going to hold my ruler up to the mat, and it is 7 inches. This photo mat is 7 inches across. And then I'm going to hold it up and down, and it is 5 inches wide. Now, I would have guessed that to be 4x6, but they used a 5x7 right there. Who knew? Okay, now let's see how wide is our flag piece behind it. I'm going to hold my ruler up, and it is 6 inches. So this flag from here to here is 6 inches wide. Now I'm going to hold my little ruler up to it this direction and see how long it is. And you can see from the top to the bottom of this point is 11 inches. From here to here is 11 inches. Now that doesn't look like 11, like there's only an inch left there, but there is. And then you can see, like, from the point to the bottom is 1 inch. So basically you will take an 11-inch piece of paper and go cut up 1 inch into the center and cut it from corner to corner, and you will have that done. How big is that circle? That circle is a 3-inch circle. If you wanted to make that layout exactly the way it looks, that's how you figure it out. Okay. Now, a card is harder because you get into the 8ths. Well, we could measure one other one, like this one. This photo mat is about 5.5 by 6.5. 5.5 by 6. It's a weird size. This one is about 3.5 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3.5 by 5 there. If you wanted that piece right there, it is about 5.5 inches long and about 1.5 inches wide. And this circle is just under 3 inches right here. There you go. Now the card making ones are a little harder for me. I blew those up big because I can't use the same ruler, you guys, because this is, I made this into a 12-inch ruler. So if we are going to recreate this card, for example, we have to start with a new ruler. So if you wanted a 5 by 7 card, you could cut from here to here and make a 7-inch ruler. Make a 5-inch ruler. I would make it the biggest measurement, which would be 7. But let's just say we want to make this a 4.25 by 6, or 4.25 by 5.5. All right. Like I said, it's a little trickier. So I'm going to take the longer measurement. Now I have a 5.5-inch ruler. And when you fold it in half, anybody want to do half of 5.5? It's 2 3/4. This is why this one gets weird. But I'm going to go ahead and fold my W, because I don't know why I use the heaviest cardstock that I own. Like, I could have totally grabbed a Post-it note instead of grabbing out of my scrap bin. But this is like 100-pound cardstock, and I'm like trying to fold it into these little pieces. Okay, so here is our 2 3/4, and yeesh, because that's half of 5.5. And then we do half of that. I don't even know what. Moose, that is enough. There is a cat taunting my dog outside the door and having a ball. All right. So this would be 1, and what's half of 3/4, you guys? 3/8. All right, so if I'm going to measure this whole card, it's 5 inches. I'm going to go here, and I know that this is 2 3/4, 3, 4. You have to look at a ruler to do this. I am not good. So here is 2 3/4 and 1 3/8, whatever that is. 2 3/4. I'm doing it on my thing. And 1 3/8. So like 4 1/4. So that's how long that is, that piece. I would cut that 4 1/4. And then this piece right here is not quite 2. 4 1/8. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, my math girl. I need my math girl. So you can see, though, that you can make your ruler, and you could make just a 5-inch ruler and eyeball the rest of it. Like, if you're better at even numbers, which I definitely am better at even numbers, right? Then sometimes you could just make this let's just say this is a 6-inch ruler right here, or right here. Let's make this 6 inches, and then this would be 3, and this would 3, this would be 3, 6, 3, 1.5, 3, 4.5. So you could just do it solid numbers, and then you can go in and guesstimate. See, this is 4.5 by about 2 3/4. It's not quite 3. So that's how I measure things if I really want to be exact. It works better for scrapbooking, obviously, because it's an even number. Cards are hard because they're such a weird size to start with. But you just need to make your, ruler. Now, the ruler that I made earlier that's 12-inch will not work on here. But today, I was playing around with this layout right here because I was curious. I don't typically only put one photo on a page. I know a lot of you refuse to do it because then you have so many photos. That's wild. You could always use a flip flap there, or just rearrange your mats so that it works, but use the idea as a jumping off point. So here's what I did for that layout. Okay, backing up again, sorry. All right, so here's what I did. Here's the layout. It has a bunch of dots, different sizes of dots. I did not do any measurements. I just looked at my dies that I have and I pulled a bunch of dots. And then I picked a picture. I'm debating on putting a second mat on it. I haven't done anything with it yet, but I just started laying out dots. I have dog hair on there. Hold on. If you're in my house, you're usually around dog or cat hair. I can't help it. But there is what I did with the dot idea. And I didn't put any on the back because, of course, they're going to be covered up. And I picked this picture of us at our St. Louis retreat because it had kind of those pinks in there. And I hadn't done anything with these photos yet. And then the other thing on this layout, you'll see it has like a tag, a byline, a something underneath. It could be decorative. You could put like a little row of daisies under there to match that, or you could put one of the big rainbows or something. But I was kind of thinking the yellow makes it pop. I might do a little strip of yellow with the date or something. I'm not sure yet. Can't decide. And then I am going to use the alphabet to cut out a title. The other thing I considered doing on it is because some of the dots look so tiny, and my dots, my smallest dot I have is a 1-inch dot. I was thinking it might be neat to just stamp a few random dots in there. I couldn't decide if it would make it, or even gems, but I couldn't decide if it would make it too busy. The darker, okay, so this is Night of Navy. This is Pretty Peacock. This back piece is part of the product of the month, and these are product of the month pieces. This is Lemon Lime Twist, Lost Lagoon, Cloud Cover. I just grabbed a bunch of colors that coordinated out of my scraps. I really need to use up my scraps. I've been using them like crazy, but look at this bag of scraps that I have, you guys. It's enormous, and I'm getting to the point where I'm about ready to purge them and get rid of them because it's annoying to have so many. Okay. All right, let's get on to our project today. I'll work on this. If you have any ideas or what you think would work best for that, let me know. So today I thought this, I would use this, this layout and this layout. I want a 2-page spread, so I thought I'll just pick 2. And I think it was these 2 that I went with just because I thought it would work nicely. And I have, this paper is called Lovely and Beautiful. And it's lovely, it's beautiful. And it's got foil on one side and a solid on the other. And I've seen several demonstrators use this for cards where they color in the flowers. Wow, it's pretty. And that's the back. My personal self, I'm not as crazy about these super little tiny busy patterns, but I have trouble using these, but I like to see what other people do with them. I love this. It's so pretty. And look at the back. See, I really like that. So I think it's just the multiple color that I struggle with. This is the paper that I'm using today. It's one side is the green, and the other side has like a foiled floral print, like a geometric. And this, I'm using this piece. No, I'm using a different piece. And that's front and back. Isn't that gorgeous? The other thing, I kind of was thinking, gosh, no, there seems to be a theme in some of the paper packs they've released lately. And I've noticed the mix-ins kind of go with this paper. So this is from the Mixed Up Papers. And you can see the pink is not quite right, but the green is amazing with it. And I kind of like this color. The back is that black that I'm hoarding. It's Secret Sea, actually. I'm hoarding that, so I couldn't use this, but you can see just how beautiful that would be with this paper. Oh my gosh, look at that. If I have any left, I'll consider it. The other paper that I thought looked really nice with this is this stripe, and I did toy with the idea of using this yellow stripe with these papers because the color is the color from the paper pack, and I like the idea of adding a geometric to all this floral. So I just wanted to show you the mixed up papers are easy to, you know, slip into some of these other papers. Okay, what am I doing? Let me get out the papers I decided to go with. I am going to go with these 2 papers as my background. Yeah, I can't help it. I've been hoarding those darker colors because of all my racetrack pictures, and those just go so well that I just feel like I need them. All right, so I did my little ruler measurement, and I don't know where my ruler went. I don't know what I did with it. It's probably in my, hold on a minute. Here it is. Here's the ruler I made for the catalog. Look how tiny it is, you guys. It's so tiny. It's not even like the size of my finger. But it helped me measure how big I wanted my pieces to be. And then of course I blew it up for you guys, and then my little 12-inch ruler didn't work anymore on this one. So I have to use this one. But anyway, I decided to go with this, and I started out with, well, I'm just going to talk you through my thoughts. I really want this green on this page and this color on this page to tie it all together. And so I put this here, and I didn't like how it just sort of, it looks harsh to me. Now I know I'm going to have photos on here, and not a lot of it will show, but you can see in the layout. Okay, so then I was like, well, let's soften it up a little bit and let's put some white behind it. And I really like how that looks. It is really hard to cover up this foil. I'm just saying, it's so pretty. Okay. So I really like having this on here, and I think it softens this pattern. It's a lot of pattern. We'll just say that. And then I was like toying around with Basic Beige. Now, Basic Beige is my new favorite discovery. For a long time, I could not find anything that I thought went with it. It's a little greenish. It's got like a green undertone. And every time I used it, I'm like, no, it's not quite right. So I hadn't used it. And then all of a sudden, I started finding things that went with it. And I like how this mat ties this in. It looks nice and soft. I like it better with the Basic Beige than without. Now this piece is centered in my page. Now look at all those beautiful flowers I'm covering up. So you can turn your paper around and figure out which way, you know, you want it to go, what you want to show. And I kind of like these big peach pieces showing. So that's what I'm going for. And I am going to intentionally not put adhesive right next to the edge, just in case I tuck something under. I don't think I'm gonna, but just in case. Okay, so I'm gonna eyeball this. After all that measuring, I'm eyeballing. That's sort of my go-to, is to eyeball anyway. Okay. And then, okay, for page 2, now I'm going to hold off on the mats because I want everything to coordinate together. So for page 2, I decided to go with this layout that we just measured, which means, you know, this was like an 11-inch piece of pattern in the back. And I looked through my patterns, and I really wanted this pattern repeated over here, and I thought, but it's like too much. It's too much. And so I flipped it over, and look at that. Isn't that great? And then I didn't like how both pieces were going vertical. It needs something a little different. And so I'm going to turn the whole shebang over and do it this way. So basically, I'm taking my template and I'm turning it, okay? Which means technically I have some kind of cluster down here in the center and some kind of words or something up here, but I may adjust that too. Since I'm turning this around, remember, this is an inspiration point. It's not supposed to be, you know, hard and fast rules. Okay, this paper right here, this hurts a little bit to cover this up. The other one was like, it's really pretty, but I still really like this. Now, if you're wondering like where to put it, that is approximately 2 inches from the edge of the paper. Do you see that? That piece. So this would technically go like here, but since I'm turning it, I'm going to go down about 2 inches and put it there. And I'm just eyeballing that a little. Okay, so there's that. Now, I still need this paper on this page, and I just covered a big chunk of it and used the back. So I looked at my scrap that I had left, and I went ahead and made a second banner flag for right here. I like the idea of having that on here, and it ties it together so that I have green over here, you know, both colors in both places. So I'm just going to put that there like that. Okay. Now let's talk photo mats. This calls for 3 photos here and 1 large photo here. Now I could put 2 photos there, but I actually do have, a really nice 4x6 that I wouldn't mind putting over here. So if I put this here and remember on our measurement, this was 5x7. So I cut it to 4. Let's see. I cut this exactly to 5x7. And then I have this 4x6 that I'm going to put in the center of it. And it's going to go over here. And it's approximately 1 inch or so from the edge there. That's just how the sketch looks. I may adjust that. You know, it's not like written in stone. Now, over here, it calls for 3 3x4s. And I measured that with my little ruler. And I'm like, I can do a couple, but I typically do, like to do at least 4x4s. So I'm going to put those there, and I'm going to make one of them a 4x4 instead. I just need that photo space, okay? It's just, I need it. Because the pictures that I take are so zoomed in that I can't crop. I would have to print my photo at 4 inches. Is that peach pie? Probably. Hold on a minute. I will tell you the colors of this pack. Calypso Coral, Darling Duckling, Fresh Freesia, Old Olive, Peach Pie, Petal Pink, and Gold. So, yeah, I would say peach pie. Now, the other thing I think about when I do stuff like this is I have basic beige and white on here now, and I don't have basic beige or white on this side. And so when I created my circle, I made it basic beige, and I used those circle dies, you know, the spotlight circles. Gosh, these are amazing, you guys. Please don't discontinue those, Stampin' Up. Please don't. They're so amazing. So I do like these circles a lot. I use them a lot. And what's nice is that they're big enough that you can really use them as a background. Now, normally I'd probably pop this up a little, but I'm going to use this as a journaling space. And I don't pop up my journaling if I haven't done my journaling yet, because I want to be able to write on a solid surface when I'm ready. Now, technically on the sketch, this circle goes down here, but I want it up here. I think it's just a better look. So I'm flipping things a little bit on the sketch. Okay, now I have basic beige here and here. I'd like to do it in a third area. I like the triangle idea, but I'm thinking about, I was thinking about this flag thing, and I kind of like the idea of having another banner up at the top over here. One of the things on this sketch right here is you'll see there's a circle right there. There's a focal point right there. And then there's something writing or a banner right there. I don't necessarily need all of that, but I do feel like I need something in that corner. And I could just create flowers or something. But I like the idea of repeating the banner idea over here. And so I'm not sure about that because I don't like both banners flags going that direction. Like I kind of like it going this way better, but I have something else in mind. So I'm going to hang on to this, and I want it for my journaling. I could put it up there. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I like the idea of them not going both the same direction, but I'm not sure about it yet. So the next thing I did was I took my gargantuan party alphabet dies, and I wanted to make a title. Now the titles, I have different alphabets I could use, and the titles are always hard for me because I don't have my photos with me, but I was kind of thinking of something generic, and I liked the So Happy. I have some family pictures from a get together to put on here, and I really love that idea. And when I just used the coral, I think this is Calypso coral, but when I just used that by itself, it looked so flat and undimensional. It just looks plain. And so what I decided to do is offset it with white. So I basically made a white layer, and I'm going to offset it when I put them together, just a little, like that. And see the difference in that letter versus that letter. The other thing you could do with these is you could use your ink and shadow the color on, like use Calypso coral or a brown, like even basic beige would brown this up around the edges and give it a little dimension. Inking things up really helps. So I like the So Happy. The get together that I have a wedding. I have some wedding photos, and all of our family kind of sat together, and I kind of thought, you know, it might be nice to have like the couple here, but all of our family here, right? So sorry, I'm gonna force you to sit and watch me do this for a minute. I do have some coloring to do to make our flowers, and that takes some time. So while I'm doing this, I just want you to know that Friday I have some things I'm going to be doing, and I'm not going to be able to go live Friday morning like I normally do. However, I'm thinking about possibly going live tomorrow to show Friday's project because I love it, and showing that will get me to the point where I can start mailing out packages to my customers. So I think I may do that. So you may see another live pop on at a weird time tomorrow, maybe. I don't know. We're supposed to get bad weather in the afternoon. So they put us in a tornado risk zone, which is like, what? It's crazy. Why am I having trouble with this? Okay. It's not exactly right, but there we go. Okay. Too much white. Why am I struggling? Hold on. I'm gonna get this Y fixed. It's driving me a little crazy. Thank goodness for liquid glue. That's all I can say, because obviously I'm struggling with that. Okay, there. So I like the So Happy down here like this. I'm not sure about that yet, but I'm gonna set this aside for a moment because I want to put florals on here. I know, I just told you I'm not a big floral person, and here I am. Floral City. All right, I'm gonna carefully stack that together. And let's see. Okay. I got out my dots that I thought matched this too. These are the in color flat pearls, the 2025-27 in color flat pearls. I have a lot of gems and dots. I think gold would look beautiful on there. I'm not sure. I got out my little bees just in case because I love them. But here's what I'm going to use today. This is the Simply Beautiful stamp set. These are the stamps. They're absolutely gorgeous. And these are the dies. I cut a whole bunch of white, and Heather says, what color are the photo mats? My photo mats are Calypso Coral. As a matter of fact, when I placed my order today, I decided to take advantage of free shipping to buy stuff that I hate to pay shipping for. I mean, I hate to pay shipping for anything, but I really don't like to pay shipping on basics. So I bought a bunch of re-inkers for my ink pads, and I bought a lot of cardstock to go with my missing, like I have some gaps, and Calypso Coral was one of them. I was getting there. I was getting to the point. Okay, here I have a little cube of Old Olive and Calypso Coral. See, I need a few more colors, don't I? I mean, I have cubes in them. And what I want to do is I want to watercolor. I went ahead and watercolored my leaves ahead of time. And what I did, that was the mistake, which I'm still going to use them. I don't care. But I watercolored a piece of paper. I just watercolored a piece of cardstock all over with the Old Olive, just a big wash. Like I just took a piece and Old Olive all over. And then the little polka dot things are from This Weekend Adventures. And then I stamped all over it. And then I used the stamp set to stamp my leaves and stuff. And what the mistake was that I went back in and did a little shading on top of the leaves, and it smeared my ink. So don't do what I do. But this was a great technique to color some generic leaves, right? And then, okay, here's the rest of my title that I was thinking of. This says, you make me. You make me. And I cut it out of the smaller alphabet to put on that flag banner. And then so happy, right? You make me so happy. And then I thought I could use any pictures on there. I could even use pictures of my dog. I mean, really, I could use any pictures. Now the other, so I have my leaves done. Now these flowers, I cut out a base, a middle, and a topper. You can see that there's 3 different shapes for each flower. So I did a couple of big ones, some small ones, and my idea was to just do a wash of color. And this takes a little time, but I'm going to, this would be better if I had my reinker, you guys. But basically, I'm going to smear that onto my glass mat. Sorry, wow, I jiggled my camera like crazy. And then I'm just going to spritz with some water. I want some plain water. And then I'm just going to use my water brush. And I have my old nasty rag here. But basically, I want a real light wash on here. And I could even leave some of the flowers white. The other thing that on here that I was thinking was that I should have possibly cut these out of watercolor paper because it is made to withstand a lot of wet, right? So, I don't know. Anyway, for this, I'm just gonna go in the center. I'm gonna flick out. You'll notice that I left the little centers in on this one. The other one, I removed them. And I'm gonna layer. And so I could leave that with a little bit of white. I'm gonna try that. I might use shimmer brush on that just a little bit. This one, I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna do a white bottom. I think I will go ahead and, I'm just experimenting. I'm playing around and I don't want to be too futzy. If I wanted to be a super artist, I would be like really more careful. But I'm not going to be careful. Oh, look at that. I had 2 of them in there. Okay. Put that in, put that back. And then, so let me just see. I think I still need this wash on here. You can see you go through a lot of it. The re-inker really is better than using a cube or an ink pad. The ink pads are so juicy, the big ones. Those work great. And this is a very fast way to color, and you don't have like a lot of work. And if you start at the center and go to the outside, the center is going to be darker and it's going to be covered anyway, but you could let this dry a little bit and add more dimension, add more shading. You know, if you really want like each petal to have a little more color, just go back in with more color. And just remember that it's going to be covered to some degree, so you have to go kind of far out to do that. All right, so I did this one earlier, and I did all 3 layers, so you can see what all 3 look like. And I think I'm considering leaving a couple of them totally white. I don't know if I like that. Sorry, y'all. You have to watch me. Well, you don't have to watch me, but I appreciate you watching. So this is just a fast way to color. I like using watercolors, but I find using my ink pad is faster, and I'm all about it looking good and faster. Colored pencils are a bit, I struggle a little. All right, let's see. So I think I'm gonna do the shaded one, real pale. And then, oh, look at that. I like how pale that turned out. That has mostly water and almost no color. So you got to use a lot more water when you're trying to go super pale, but I like how it looks. Any questions or anything? Anything? What's everybody ordering during the sale? I want to know. I'm like super curious. Okay, and I also have some of these that I thought I could do some in gold or something and make a center for the flower, but I think I'm going to use gems instead. All right. Gotta love that glass mat. Look at that. Clean and moving on. These are a little damp. Now, I just want to tell you, when you work with these that are a little bit wet, that glue does not like them. So you may have to hit them with your heat tool, or just let them sit and dry for a minute. I think I'll just put these up out of the way so I can grab them instead of putting them in this container. All right. Let's get out the layouts. Okay. I really like this You Make Me Sew. I'm missing my Y. Oh, there it is. So I'm not going to make you sit and watch me glue these on, but I just want you to get the drift of what I'm thinking. I like this. I like this a lot, right? And I think I'm going to put it up here, and then here and here. You make me so happy. Oh, yeah. That's a good one. Okay. And then I have my flowers. Now, what I like to do on these flowers is I like to put a dimensional on each level so that each one pops up just a little bit. And once you've kind of got these things kind of loose, they always look a little dimensional in your scrapbook. But I think I'll put one down there. I did not do 3 large flowers because they're so big. They're just so large. Do you see how big those are? But I do like the idea of one being right there. I do have a couple of really nice Disney pictures of me and Steve when we went out to eat one night. Where we were wearing kind of these colors, and I thought, oh, that would work, right? That would. So I haven't totally decided on which photos I'm going to use here, but then I like scattering these flowers around a little bit. And I really like having the white, more white colored flowers as part of the mix. I really want to add shimmer brush to these and make them sparkle and shine. And then of course I have our giant leaves. So see how the leaves got they got a little smudged where I stamped them. It's not going to show the way I use them because that part, it's going to get tucked under, and that works for me. I mean, and you know that I'm not as picky about things like that. I also did some of this one, and I thought that might be a nice thing to tuck in. This one, I didn't realize that it was a bud, like a flower bud, until after I stamped it. I was like, oh, whoops. Okay. So maybe, I don't know if I want to use it or not, but there you go. That's my thought. I'll put this here. Put that there. You kind of get the idea of my page, and then I'll put my gems on. I feel like I need gems in the center of these flowers. They're a little bit damp, to be putting gems on right now. And when I use gems in my scrapbook, especially on something like this, I'll use glue. Hold on. Why am I having trouble opening it? Open. There we go. But I really like these pink. The orange would look great too, but I think the pink color in the center of the flowers is going to be like amazing. I think that's going to look really, really nice. So that is my more or less finished page, and I will glue everything together, and I'll put a final picture in the comments, and let me know what you think. I'm curious, because basically I used this sketch and this sketch for page 1 and page 2. And remember, you can turn these any way you want. Like this one right here, I see a lot of demonstrators using the squares. Close to My Heart did a lot of little 2-inch squares. I've done a lot of 2-inch squares, and I do them different ways. Like sometimes I'll do them across the top of the page and then have my photos go over them. Sometimes I'll do them in a circle. I see a lot of people trying to do this one, and for me that's hard because I like 4x4 and 4x6 pictures, and so this one is harder because I feel like I need to shrink my pictures down. And if I use my little ruler, those photos, yeah, those are like 3x3 inch photos. Yeah, no, they're very small, and I need bigger. I love the art potential on that. Like you could do some really cool things. I tried to do this with the postage one, thinking I could make this a line of postage with my photo above and below it, but I just didn't like how it looked. So I think if I raised that, you know, I've done a lot where I've done like almost like a shelf where you do embellishments and then tuck your photos on the top of the shelf, and then your journaling's at the bottom. And that kind of reminds me of that style. If you look back in some of my videos, I have like a Christmas one that I did, a couple of Christmas ones I've done that way. So thank you, Nancy. Thank you. Thank you. And so this is going to be what I submit to my team challenge, I think. I can't decide whether I want to do, maybe I'll do both. Maybe I'll submit this one and the dots. My leader really likes it when we submit scrapbook pages that have photos on them. And that means I have to dig through my photos and decide what I want to do if I'm going to submit this one. So, all right. I hope that's a good day. And then tomorrow, I know you're sick of Easter, but I do have some Easter cards that I want to make that I think are really cute. And I am stash busting. You guys don't realize it, but I'm down to 2 sheets of paper left in my Easter paper, and it's the stripes that I've been hoarding. I love them so much. So I'm seriously considering using those, my scraps and those last 2 stripes as scrapbook pages just to call it done and put my Easter paper away. But if you're going to make Easter cards and stuff, gosh, now's the time to order. And that Easter bunny set is adorable. I looked through my Easter stuff, and I don't have, I have a lot of Easter sets, but I don't have anything that is as inclusive as that. Like it has a lot of different things that you can use. You can make, like normally I would have to pick the bunnies out of one set and maybe eggs out of another and blah, blah, blah. You know, I have like 4 or 5 stamp sets on my table making Easter cards, where this Easter Bunny set is all-inclusive. It really has everything in it that you need. And so I haven't really had to pull from my stash. That's awesome. What a great feeling. And I love that little chick. It sold me. Okay, have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.